New England, Pittsburgh at long last. Week 15 in the Steel City has arrived. Patriots and Steelers on a gray afternoon here in the Steel City, with so much of what's going to happen at the top of the AFC playoff picture to be decided here today. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz along with my pal Tony Romo, and we could even say since the schedule came out in late April, we've been looking forward to this game.
You're not kidding. We've been looking forward to it. The two classes of the AFC right now at this point, there's a big game here, not just for the number 1 seed. If New England loses today, they could go back to number 3.
This game is being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. Tracy Wolfson is with us as well, and we're underway. The Steelers received the kick as the Patriots deferred, and it's Toussaint on the return. Not much of a return at all. Well covered up by the New England kick coverage team. Only got it out to about the 13. Here comes Roethlisberger off that monster game last Sunday night. What a thriller that was. Throwing for 506 yards, the only 500-yard passing game in the league this year, and the first in the history of the league to do it 3 times. And the Steelers up front. Hubbard on that right side as Gilbert's out with the suspension. Pouncey, the Patriots face Pouncey brother for the 2nd straight game. And Antonio Brown, his next catch will be number 100 on the season. Pittsburgh comes out here, Tony, showing 3 receivers and a shotgun formation on first down at the 16. And he got it over to Bell. Bell, who is the best receiver out of the backfield in the league this year. The ball came out. They rule him down. They rule him down. The fumbled after he was already down. A gain of 17.
You're going to see Bell just come out and get upfield, and you see he's down right there. Elbow down, knee down. Bill Belichick is coming out today to stop Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. We're going to see how that plays out here, especially on this first drive.
Got the full nation about to join us here in about 10 seconds, but here we go to the home markets. 1st and 10 for the Steelers. Bell. Le'Veon Bell with a gain of 5 as we want to welcome everyone just joining us across the nation. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson. We're 2 plays into the game here at Heinz Field. The Steelers picked up 17 yards on a pass play to Bell on the first snap. He just picked up 5 on the second play. There'll be a 2nd and 6 coming up. We're so much on the line here, Tony, here today.
So much on the line. Not only the number 1 seed, New England could possibly go all the way back to the 3rd seed, and Jacksonville jumps them for that bye. This is a monster game.
The give to Bell again. Stutter step move, and a flag is thrown as he has very little room to operate. He gets a couple. McCourty comes up to finish him off, but Tony Corrente's crew has a flag down on the field.
Holding. Offense number 66. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 2nd down.
Called on one of the best in the league at guard, David DeCastro. The New England defense of Matt Patricia. Flowers, can he apply some pressure today? They played twice last year, these teams. There's Harris. He's going to start. Van Noy is inactive, out with a calf injury. Butler expects to see a lot of Antonio Brown. In the 2 games they played last year, they never sacked the Pittsburgh quarterback once. But of course the Patriots won on both occasions, including the right to go to the Super Bowl this past January. 2nd and 15.
Hey, right here, 5-2.
Back to Bell. Bell stumbles and scoots ahead only to about the 35. 7-yard gain. What are you expecting out of the Pittsburgh offense today as they try to solve the riddle against New England?
Well, this is a different offense than you saw in the AFC title game last year. Bell went out in that 4th play of that game. They didn't have him. Martavis Bryant wasn't there. This is a different Pittsburgh unit. This is a challenge for New England today. They shut the run down pretty good in that game last year. I don't think they have the same unit up front, that front 7, to do the same this time.
So it's a 3rd and 8. Yeah, Bell only lasted about 4 plays in that game. And now Roethlisberger, deep drop, wanted to heave it, and now does. Middle of the field, he goes, and it's tipped away. He was trying to find James as tight end, and Patrick Chung just swatted it away, forcing a punt.
And he had James 2-man coverage, which means he plays underneath on him. And what a fantastic play by Chung to get his hand up right at the end. And last year in that AFC title game, it was 3rd and 2, the first possession of the game, and Ben went for the home run down the field. And they look back and they're like, oh, we just wanted to move the chains. Probably wasn't the time. 3rd and 8 there, had to take a little bit more aggressive approach.
That's Jordan Berry on the punt. Amendola over there on the sideline. Now we'll see Tom Brady and the Patriots coming out. Their 8-game win streak was snapped Monday night. Steelers riding an 8-game win streak at the moment. An amazing moment just a second ago. An explosion of love and outpour here for Ryan Shazier as he's in the building up in one of the suites. They put him up on the screen. No one here expected that. Here's Brady on the Patriots' first snap. Dumps it across the middle to Dion Lewis. And he's got a pickup of about 13. Again, had the spinal stabilization surgery a little more than a week ago after suffering that horrific injury against Cincinnati week 13.
It's as loud as I've heard it in the beginning of a game, Jim. That was rocking before that play for Brady. He had to turn around and look what was going on.
Yeah, Tom turned around and looked at the big string. What is this? But what a spirit to see Shazier here. He's undergoing rehab and he's here to cheer on his teammates today. 1st and 10. Brady again goes underneath. And this one to Dorsett for a gain of 4. Of course, Brady has been dominant against the Steelers. He last threw an interception 7 games ago in matchups with Pittsburgh, all the way back in 2005. He's thrown 22 touchdowns against the Pittsburgh defense since the last time he was picked in 05. Here's a 2nd and 6. And stutter stepping and moving up ahead is Lewis within 1 of a first. 3rd and 1 coming up, and here's the rest of the New England offense. The right side, they had to finally put Marcus Cannon on IR this week. That ankle that had him inactive the last 5. They just went ahead and declared him lost for the season. Gronkowski back after the 1-game suspension. A big reason why they were 0 for 11 on 3rd down against Miami on Monday night in the loss. And here they are, 3rd and 1. Actually, going back to the game before that, they've failed on the last 13 3rd downs. Ball thrown in traffic, but flags everywhere as it begins to rain here at Heinz Field.
Offside, defense number 97. In the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty will create a 1st down.
So Cameron Hayward, who was not in the AFC Championship game, he was injured. Here is the front. He's going to have to step up big today, and he knows it. It crushed him not being able to be on the field in that game last January at Gillette. Spence playing the role, the position that belonged to Shazier, who was their quarterback on defense. Sends a ball up. Hayden is inactive. And here's a 1st down fake and a long ball. Right down the middle of the field it goes. And he's got his man. It's Cooks with the catch.
Josh McDaniels with some of the best play actions in the game. Brady fake running back, fake back, and gets Mitchell coming from the middle of the field. Brandon Cooks on a deep corner route. Perfectly placed throw. That's what New England wanted. A big play, quiet this crowd down early.
1st and goal. 43 yards on the play to Brandon Cooks. Lewis spinning and finally falling just outside the 1. Well, they've already beaten the Steeler defense for a big play. What did you think the approach would be for Pittsburgh today against Brady and the Patriots?
Well, for 25 years, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been playing the same defensive style, the same defensive technique. I think you're going to see for the first time in my memory, I think they're going to change today. I think you're going to see them play man-to-man coverage and get up in the faces of New England. The zone hasn't worked. We're going to find out today.
2nd and goal. Burkhead has another touchdown. This has been something that's a regular happening for Burkhead here in the last few weeks. And the Patriots look easy on the way to the end zone. 77 yards in 6 plays.
You're going to see a great block by Devlin, the fullback right there. creating the hole. And Burkhead, just a touchdown machine when they get inside the red zone. And this is exactly what Pittsburgh didn't want. You're coming into the game, a new game plan, I think. I saw 3 or 4 possessions where they played man-to-man in that drive. Played zone on the deep pass, though. That hurt them.
Burkhead had 5 touchdowns the last 3 weeks, and now give him a 6th in 3 games and 6 minutes. Gostkowski's extra point is good. New England deferred at the start. They let Pittsburgh pick up 1 first down before a punt, so that paid off. And then they take it the distance on their first possession.
Welcome back to Heinz Field, where Ryan Shazier is watching here from a suite above. What a scene it was when they showed him on the Jumbotron. He's up there with the defensive game plan in hand, delivered by defensive coordinator Keith Butler. I had a chance to speak with Mike Tomlin before the game, and he said that this is something that Ryan Shazier wanted. It is part of his rehabilitation process. He had no interaction with the team whatsoever, and many of the players didn't even know he was going to be here. But I did have a chance to speak with defensive end Cameron Hayward right before the game, and he said, if Ryan Shazier is in the house today, we better put on a good show. Jim?
All right, Tracy. What a scene. He's in the booth. One of the minority owners, Thomas Toll. Nice return here by Smith-Schuster as he dodges one Patriot and finally steps out at the 31. Back to what you thought the strategy has to be here for Pittsburgh to beat Brady.
Well, you can't play zone. Last year in the title game, you see all the zone coverage, 3-man rush. Brady just steps up in the soft parts, moves the defenders with his eyes, finds the seam and fires it over and over again. This has been going on in this entire time. Last week, though, Miami got up in the face of Cooks and these receivers, made the throws difficult. They made Brady have to step up into a pass rush that got pushed. That's not the way that New England wants to go against the team. Pittsburgh has to do that today defensively to win.
And the 43-yard play, zone or man-to-man?
That play was zone. That was on first down.
Here's a first down play for the Steelers, and in stride, Bell with the catch and a gain of about 13.
You're going to see Bell right out of the backfield in a swing route. Well-designed play right there by Todd Haley. A whole nother chess match. I mean, this is a case study for a chess match, these two opponents. Styles make fights like we talk about. New England loves going against zone. Tom Brady does. Well, guess what? I think you're going to see Pittsburgh change for the first time in a long time today. And I think New England's going to stay the same on defense.
First down, shotgun. And there's the 100th catch of the season for Antonio Brown. And that was a historic catch, if you will, because he becomes the first receiver to ever have 5 straight 100-catch seasons. He was tied for 4 consecutive all-time with Marvin Harrison, but that's number 100 with his first catch today.
And you're seeing they're playing him man-to-man. They're going to double him throughout the game. You're going to see a safety on top. He gets it every week.
2nd and 5, Bell. Met immediately by Lawrence Guy and others. Trey Flowers as well, no gain. It'll be 3rd and 5.
So watch right here. Here's Antonio Brown, and here's the safety. He'll be there all game. Safety's supposed to come down and help in the run game. And that is how they play against Pittsburgh. Every time they play them, it's going to take somebody else to come up with a big play for Pittsburgh. Up top, you see it? These guys got to come up big. Martavis Bryant and Gilmore is a huge matchup today.
Here's the 3rd and 5. Stepping up away from the heat, and now getting rid of it to Brown for the first time. Slides off the contact and takes it down to the 30. Pickup of 19.
You're going to see he's double teamed. Butler gets to play heavy on him, so he doesn't think about going down the field, but Brown is just so active. He never stops his feet. And just Ben buys enough time, and I mean, Antonio Brown has to be in the MVP discussion, Jim.
Well, a lot of folks are saying that this game will go a long way toward determining that. Brady, Brown, you know, Wentz was a candidate. Maybe still some would say he had enough work to merit that, even though he's out for the season. Russell Wilson. And I would submit Ben Roethlisberger, who's throwing here on first down. And trying to find Bryant. That was the matchup that you said they need to take advantage of. Gilmore on the coverage. We've got an update. Back to New York.
Big punt return, key play here. Yep, Farrell Cooper returned to punt 53 yards. This led Todd Gurley to a 1-yard touchdown run. The Rams 13-0 over Seattle.
Big NFC West playoff matchup here, if you will. Back to Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson.
Boy, what a start for the Rams in that one. Seattle beat them down at the Coliseum in their first matchup this year. If Seattle wins, Seattle would take the West lead, but down big early in that one. 2nd and 10. Pass knocked down. That was Gilmore denying Bryant as they go 2 straight plays to Martavis Bryant.
Well, here's the matchup. It's one-on-one. Look where the safety is. You have this entire field to throw the ball to Martavis Bryant because Brown's on the other side. Martavis Bryant has to come flatter on that route, and he has to create separation. Well done by Gilmore getting his hand right in there. He's been playing really good football here over the last couple months.
3rd and 10. Pass over the top. Smith-Schuster with the first down. He's back after sitting out a game with a suspension. The 21-year-old rookie making plays all season long.
Watch him right here. He's going to motion. The key in the AFC title game is when they ran these routes, they'd run into the linebackers. Look at him here. They thought they would have to come really shallow, and he did it. He came right down the line. That's how you run those shallow crosses against New England. These guys want to hit you 3 or 4 yards deep. Run them at 1 yard. You get by everybody, you create big plays in the man coverage.
He picked up a couple of 3rd downs on this drive. And now from the 18, new set of downs. Roethlisberger completes it. That's Rodgers. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. There is a flag at the 11-yard line.
Well, you got guys blocking. It's a running play that Ben decided to keep. This could be blocking. It could be a lineman downfield. And they could also just pick it up.
There is no foul for an ineligible downfield. The rule stands. Touchdown.
Eli Rogers with his first touchdown of the season.
Eli Rogers is going to go. Ben has the option to hand it off, but he keeps it, looks off, and throws it up the middle. Eli Rogers, what a perfect throw. Right over the stretch of Rowe. That's just a well-done throw route.
And now Boswell for the extra point. So they match the Patriot touchdown. Going 69 yards in 8 plays. And we're 7-7. Great start to the most anticipated game of the season. Soggy start, rain's getting heavier, everyone's getting drenched, no one cares. It's New England, Pittsburgh, with so much on the line. Boswell's kick. To Lewis on one hop. And he's tackled at the 24. How about Brady in that first drive for New England, Tony?
Well, both big plays. They had 6 plays in that drive. First down, that's zone. You see everyone getting out of there? They throw it 15 yards. Then they get man. Tight coverage. Nothing there. Then we get zone on first down and 10, which you have to sprinkle in. But it gets right over the top of Artie Burns right there. And you see, I think they have to get up and challenge these guys, make them throw contested throws. The last time he threw a pick, 2005, and that's against the zone defense, right?
Yeah, it was Chris Hope who picked off Brady at the start of that game. It's been 7 matchups since, 281 passes before today. Make that now 285, including today. And Gronkowski has a catch, but only for 2. Yeah, Tom has had, no question, he's had his way against this style of defense. And when you talk to Tomlin about, well, last year in the championship games, you guys came back with the same approach. And as he pointed out, we didn't have the personnel to go man-to-man in New England at Gillette.
Well, look at right here. Man-to-man, man-to-man. They're getting up in their face.
2nd and 8. Running play. Good job of chugging along by Lewis. Could have stopped him. It looked like maybe 3 yards short, but he takes it for 9 and another first.
This will be a great case study. in a team who doesn't do this consistently really at all for a full football game. Pittsburgh wants to switch things up, call a lot of different things, but it's usually in zone capacity. Now they have forms of man in their zone. When they blitz you, they play forms of man zone coverage. But to play this the whole game, we're going to find out if it's beneficial to switch your defense up or not.
And they don't have Joe Hayden. He's inactive. He's out again with the leg injury. It was a game-time decision. Here's a first down. Brady sack back at the 25. That was Hayward who got to him. For his 10th sack of the season, the first Steeler since 2010 to get 10 in the year.
Well, you see Hayward pushes Tooney, and this is the key to the game. One of these linemen is going to be one-on-one. Him or Tuitt are going to get the one-on-one matchup with a guard. The center's going to slide away and double-team one guy. Hayward and Tuitt have to have a big game. Pittsburgh rushed 3 guys in the NFC title game, or AFC title game. Today they're going to rush 4, and they're going to play man.
Here's a 2nd and 18. Protected this time. Brady slides. He feels him coming. He's able to wiggle out of it and complete it to James White, who's thrown down by Hilton after a pickup of only 3. That time it was Tuitt who was in the area of Brady, and White is limping a bit.
They play zone, and you see Brady has Gronk over the ball, but Tuitt provides the pressure. Now watch right here. Gronk is open right there. But you can't throw him the ball because Tuitt gets right up in his face and makes him double clutch and slide. This place is rocking.
Yes, it is. 3rd and 15. Pass caught, but nothing there for Burkhead. Just a pickup of 5, and the Patriots are forced to punt.
That's what you do. You get up and you play a man, and then you sprinkle in zone once in a blue moon. That way the quarterbacks have to think. Great quarterbacks. We want to see zone. We want to move the defender with our eyes, get up there, throw it. No one does it better than Brady.
So that drive really stunted by the sack by Hayward. Changed the course of that one. And now Ryan Allen's punt to Eli Rogers. And it bounces at the 30. Rogers, who scored the touchdown, scoops it up, picks up about 3. New England, Pittsburgh, who knows? Maybe it's the first of 2 this season, but it's a big one for the playoffs coming up. Wonderful to see the joy on those children's faces. The Patriots' 24th annual Children's Holiday Party at Gillette for children in need. A night of food, presents, and a visit from Santa himself. Here we go, 1st and 10. 3rd possession of this first quarter for the Steelers. Last time they had it, they drove for the touchdown. There's Bell doing his thing, dancing around, but nothing opens up. Only a gain of 1. People talk about the killer bees. You got Ben comes in 2nd to Brady this week in passing yards, but Bell leads the league in rushing. Brown leads the league in receiving yards. Pretty amazing. Oh, don't forget about another bee, by the way. Chris Boswell, who keeps kicking all these game winners. 4 on the season.
Someone spent some time on that graphic. That was pretty good right there. Was there a buzz sound too when the bee was flying by?
I was trying to. Could you hear it in all the rain falling? 2nd and 9. Open. Smith-Schuster has his 2nd catch, trying to run away from Gilmore.
Gilmore's got a big challenge today. He's going to be one-on-one throughout the football game. And you see Smith-Schuster shows why everyone loves him here in Pittsburgh. This staff uses him a lot of different ways.
And all that we were just talking about, the killer bees. You go into this game, you know you've got to really branch out, though, in this one. And if you're going to beat New England, it has to be somebody else that steps up, like a Rodgers who scored a touchdown, or Smith-Schuster, perhaps.
You're exactly right. We've mentioned that Gilmore's going to be one-on-one pretty much the whole game, whoever he's guarding. That's the matchup Pittsburgh has to attack.
And a first down for Roethlisberger. Safety valve over to Bell, juggles it, catches it, picks up 1. Butler brings him down. Tonight, a white supremacist whose movement committed more acts of terror in America than Islamic extremists. Plus an important new investigation coming up tonight on 60 Minutes. Final seconds of the first quarter, and a 2nd and 9 for Pittsburgh. Slings it into the arms of his tight end, James, who had 10 catches against the Ravens Sunday night. His first on this afternoon goes for only 1, and that'll close out quarter number 1, which had some big moments. It's 7-7 after the first 15 at Heinz Field on CBS. A rainy afternoon in Pittsburgh. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, Jim Rickoff producing, Mike Arnold directing. Great to have you with us in this crucial AFC matchup. Roethlisberger, who threw for 103 yards in the first quarter and a touchdown, faces 3rd and 8 to open up the second. And for a deep ball. And it is pulled in by Bryant. He dove for it.
You're going to see Bryant look at one-on-one all game. They could throw it to him on every play. Gilmore. And this is what made this offense darn near unguardable in 2014-15 time frame. This guy gets one-on-one every play. And look at Ben. Throws it. Looks at the D lineman. And does he get up?
He's stretching out that left knee. That went for 39 yards to Bryant, who had a couple of passes come his way incomplete in the first quarter. And Tomlin coached him up a little bit during one of the timeouts on catching the football. He's got another catch, but this time for a loss of 1. But marker down on the field.
Pass interference. Offense number 81. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
And this is again after the long pass play. Been hobbling up the field.
Little hamstring, it looks like. That's happened. Quarterbacks actually play through hamstrings. Just about nobody else on the field can do that, but he's not going to be running for 40 yards anytime soon, but you can definitely play from the pocket.
He's completed his last 6 passes. The penalty against James sets him back to the 27 and a 1st and 20. Try to get some of it back on the ground, and the Patriots aren't going to bend. Only a gain of a couple, maybe 3.
So here's the first down. Watch this. They're trying to make Ben run the football. So they're like, hey, run the football, Ben. Go ahead. We're just going to play back. We're going to play back. And they know that. And then he hands it off, and here comes the safety right down in the front. Plays the run. It's Bill Belichick playing right now. Ben has the option to run or pass on that play, and he's trying to show him, run the ball. And then he tries to stop it.
Second and 18. Takes the handoff. Looks for another option. Bounces back. Throws in the end zone. Incomplete. Oh, there was traffic there, and so too was Antonio Brown, who's injured.
And you see Ben actually has going across the field inside. He had a shot with Smith-Schuster, but ends up going to Brown. Ooh. What time? He probably should have had this ball. Brown usually makes that.
He's getting help to the sideline.
Can't tell what's wrong, but he is. This is a monster. Ooh, let's see his legs. Oh yeah, he gets kicked right in that left
By Rowe.
calf.
Being escorted to the sideline by the medical crew led by Dr. James Bradley.
I'm telling you, if he, we're not going to speculate whether he's coming back or not, but I can tell you right now, New England knows he's on the sideline. That completely changes their game plan. Completely shifts it from here on until he comes back in the game, if he does.
As he walked to the sideline, there was an MVP chant for AB. Darius Hayward-Bay, he's a 9-year veteran, has come in. He's at the top of the screen. It's a 3rd and 18. Patriots rush 4, and They push him back to the outer edges of field goal range. They're still going to bring Boswell out for what will be about a 51-yard attempt. Loss of 8 on this.
Dietrich Wise, you see him right here coming off the edge. He's one-on-one with Villanueva and just pushes him right in, and they meet at the quarterback, him and Trey Flowers.
It'll be a 51-yard attempt. Chris Boswell, who's had a great year with all these game-winning kicks, had 4 field goals against the Ravens, 32 of 35. This kick from 51. It is good. Now the last 4 matchups, regular and post, as you see the injury to Brown, New England never trailed once. Coming out of the blue tent a moment ago, Antonio Brown being taken in. So the Steelers play with a lead for the first time in 5 matchups against New England. And Lewis is tripped up by Nix at the 25. So missing pieces has been part of the story in these recent matchups. Now the Steelers, when they opened up week 1 at New England in 2015, Bell was suspended, missed the game. Williams played, put up monster numbers, but of course the Patriots won that one. And then last year, Landry Jones was the quarterback here in the regular season. Again, won by the Patriots. And then Bell went out after just a few snaps. He had 6 rushes in that AFC title game. First quarter out with a groin. They're out without Hayward as well. And Kobe Hamilton and Sammy Coach with the complimentary receivers to Antonio Brown. There's the completion to Amendola for a quick gain of 11 or 12.
You're going to see New England start to adjust right now. They're going to try and get it out here and spread you out. You want to play man-to-man? New England's going to spread you out, and he's going to look up top and see who's guarding the running back. He sees a corner. He's thinking zone coverage right now.
Brady across the middle to Gronkowski, breaking tackles. He reached up over Sean Davis to make the catch and collect 31 total.
And you see Sean Davis has to play outside leverage and just allows him to run right up the seam. And Brady knows what they're in now. He's looking right down here. Who's guard? Oh, it's a running back, man to man.
Brady 8 for 8 for 113. Throwing again. Double coverage, and his first incompletion went in the direction of Cooks.
Pittsburgh got up in their face that time. They got to do it. Jim, they have to do it over and over again. Just trust that you might give up a big play, but you got to get up on this New England team and disrupt the timing of this rhythm of the offense.
Second and 10. Artie Burns was looking around with his arms up like, what's going on here? This pass caught for a gain of 6. Coming back to get it was the newly acquired Kenny Britt, who had been recently waived by Cleveland and then signed up this week by the Patriots. Gain of 7.
Well, this is an interesting pickup. Kenny Britt, he's going to help them in the run game. They have a lot of little receivers. People don't understand. It's very nondescript. No one remembers. But getting a big receiver like that in there to help in the run game, huge.
Got a 3rd and 3.
That's a cornerback on a running back. Zone blitz usually.
Steelers rush 4. Finally, the Patriots convert on a 3rd down, and it's Amendola down to about the 13. Both these quarterbacks at the moment with 10 completions for similar yardage. The Patriots, the best second quarter team in the league. They run it with Lewis fighting to get back to the line of scrimmage. TJ Watt and others surround him. Mike Tomlin told us that he was imploring his defensive front Our 4 has to beat their 5.
Exactly right. They've rushed 3 guys too many games in the past. They got to rush 4 pretty much 80 or 90% of this game. If they do that, you make Brady get rid of the ball a little bit before he wants to.
A 2nd and 10, and Brady calls timeout.
Now, New England, their first, a 30-second timeout.
Well, what you've seen so far with Pittsburgh trying to mix things up, you're still seeing Brady picking them apart, whether it's the man-to-man or the zone coverage.
Yeah, well, the thing is, right now, you're trying to get that one negative play. And you'll see right here, if you play this tape, this is the timeout we just saw right here. They're going to motion. Gronk's going to come over, but look at on defense. This is not your normal Pittsburgh team. That's man. That's man. That's man. Brady knows what everyone's in. You're not fooling him. You're not going to fool Tom Brady. And Josh didn't like the formation there. They didn't want that into the boundary. He wanted it to the field so they had space.
So now reset on a 2nd and 10 with Burkhead, the running back. Here's Brady. Down the middle, open and jarred loose. He was trying to hit Hollister, the backup tight end. And that was Mike Hilton, who had a brief spell on the Patriots practice squad a year ago, who defended it.
He's wide open, and Brady's just a hair late. And Hilton gets a hand right back in there. And Hollister wanted that ball early. And Brady thought, taking a little hit. They're hitting him a little. Let's see if they get up and play tight on these receivers again.
That was Alu who hit Brady after the pass. 3rd and 10. Guns it. Wide of the mark for Gronkowski. Davis defending. And Gostkowski's coming out.
Give Pittsburgh credit. Man-to-man almost that whole drive, and they made it hard. They're making these throws real tight and contested. The zebra can change their stripes.
You couldn't wait to see if it would actually work when you don't play it ever, and now all of a sudden, late in the season, you go to it.
Well, it just hasn't worked for years. It's like you have to try it. The problem is Baltimore's defense gives Brady trouble, but that's their system. This isn't Pittsburgh's system.
Gostkowski kicks it through from 32 yards out, and the game is tied at 10 in the 2nd quarter in Pittsburgh. Some of the images from this past January 22nd when the Patriots took the Lamar Hunt Trophy, the AFC title game, 36-17 at Gillette Stadium. Chris Hogan, by the way, had a huge outing in that one, had 2 touchdown catches, 180 yards, but he's inactive today. That shoulder injury, which hobbled him, kept him out of a few games. He returned against Miami, but he's out again today as Toussaint has Patriots all over him. Just a 15-yard run back. Let's get an update on the AB injury. Tracy, all yours.
Jim, I was told Antonio Brown right now in the X-ray room. They are looking at that left leg. They do not have any other update for us right now, but will give it to us as soon as they do.
Tracy, thank you. Saw Hayward Bay come in. Now he's coming back out, but here's the injury again on the throw across the middle in the end zone. Rowe came in from behind and inadvertently got tangled up in there. And who becomes, if you will, for Ben, who becomes the Antonio Brown of that receiving corps while he's out?
It'll be by committee. Martavis Bryant will play more, Smith-Schuster, and Hayward Bay will be
up ahead. That's Bell. Able to work through all of that for about 9.5. They actually gave him 10 and a first down.
Patient running is always by Bell. Waits to find that hole and then shoots through. The technique is a little different on the O-line. It's not just Bell. These linemen hang with their guy a long time, and they make the defense decide where they're going to go.
He is, of course, a 3-down back and has more receptions than any running back in the league. With now 78 catches on the season. Here's another running play for Bell. And he darts ahead to turn it into a positive play and a pickup of 1. There's Brown, who collided with him helmet to helmet. Legal play, of course, in that situation, but Bell takes the pounding. He keeps on going and was the leading vote getter for the Pro Bowl fan voting that ended this week. Second and 9. Give it to him again. Walker in front. That was Grimble up ahead, trying to help clear the way. It's a gain of 6. It'll be 3rd and about 3 coming up.
You see the block right here. Grimble get up and get to the edge and just give a little opening there and throwing Butler down. Now here's the big plays in this game. New England doesn't complete. I mean, if you can get them, it's 1st and 2nd down in the run game. But they're getting fantastic situationally this year. After those first 3 or 4 games, they've really completely shifted. They stop teams now in this area and in the red zone.
Since Brown went out, Ben was sacked on one play, and they've run it 3 other times. He's able to pick up the first down. Roethlisberger finds Smith-Schuster for a new set of downs.
It's a good route by Smith-Schuster. Fake like he's going wide and comes back on a slant. Ben waits on him, and that's what you do. Just easy little throws on 3rd and 3. Move the chains. We'll take our shots on different downs. Don't give the ball back to New England.
Talking today.
So a 6-yard pass play to Smith-Schuster, his 3rd catch. Fumble, and he falls on it. Connor was the running back for that play that never unfolded.
That's too bad because they had a toss to the right. You see that ball go right through Ben's hands. As it gets wet, you're used to grabbing as a quarterback, and that ball just squirts right through the hands. Fortunate that ball doesn't bounce the other direction.
What do you see out of Pouncey in the matchup against that defensive front?
Pouncey, that was the way that New England attacked this front on 3rd down and 2nd and longs. They ran stunts and made Pouncey have to block one-on-one.
2nd and 12, Connor, the rookie, finds a hole and rumbles ahead for a gain of about 10. The 3rd-round pick out of Pitt.
So most teams get up on the back, or watch these linemen, these double teams. See those double team? They stay on these double teams longer than anybody before they get to the 2nd level. The offensive linemen know how patient their backs are. And their the back's patience is rewarded because the linemen play in sync with them. That's why they look like they're like, man, they're just standing back there sometimes. It all works together. Another 3rd and 2.
Pittsburgh 4 out of 6 on 3rd down thus far. And from the New England 47. Open for the first. Bell for the wiggle. And now churning ahead. Broke away from Trey Flowers and gained 13 in all. And they're having success on 3rd down.
This is a fantastic design. Watch the running back. He's going to make it seem like he's running up the sideline, and then he's going to stop and come back. I haven't seen this. This is brand new. Look at Todd Hill. I'm running up the side. I'm running. Nope. Little hitch route. No linebacker has to cover a running back on a wheel and a little stop hitch on it.
But Bell to the sideline for this 1st down play. It's Connor gets another snap. Take it to him. Roethlisberger surrounded and sacked back at the 38. As Lawrence Guy for a loss of 4.
The receivers are covered. Smith-Schuster, there's a safety on the inside there. And Grimble was coming across the field, but he doesn't get open. Butler's got him. That's an interception if he throws that football. Roethlisberger does a good job of protecting the ball because if he lets go of it, that was intercepted.
It looked like he was eyeing Smith-Schuster, but you're right, the double coverage. That would have been more likely going the other way had he thrown it. 2nd and 13, Bryant is back in, and he's lined up on that right side on the stack of receivers. Takes the short throw to James. Puts him in field goal range, if you will. Gain of 5, back to Tracy.
Jim, a quick update on Antonio Brown. It is a calf injury. They are not ruling him out just yet. They are calling him questionable to return.
Now with just 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. Can the Steelers find another way to move the chains on third down?
Watch out for someone going at Pouncey right over the middle here. Some sort of a stunt.
Flushed out and fires. First down. Catch by Bryant.
What a route by Bryant. You see him all the way up top. Gilmore's in two-man. He gets to play underneath because he has safety help. And Bryant showing you what everyone knows. He's got ability, a ton of ability, and he starts playing good football. I don't know how you defend this team because that safety on his side has to come down to stop Bell. The other one has to stop Brown.
Then still hobbling around, but the team continues to convert on third down situations. They got the 2-minute warning. Keeps looking at that right hand, doesn't he? 10-10. 2 minutes to go, second quarter. NFL on CBS. Dramatic view downtown Pittsburgh, and you saw Roethlisberger shaking his throwing hand and fingers walking to the sideline. A couple of plays ago on that pass to James, he hit the shoulder pad of Flowers.
I think his hand might be under his helmet right there, so when he pulls him down, I think it falls on it as well.
Got a 1st and 10 with 2 minutes to go from the 21 of New England. And that's Bell for about 4. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, Coach Cowher, all the latest scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Got a timeout called by New England. 1:52 to go in the half. Coming out of a Patriots timeout with 1:52 to go in the first half. Pittsburgh 2nd and 6 at the New England 17. There's a toss to Bell. There he goes for another first down. A 1st and goal to go. It'll be from the 9. One thing that the Patriots were doing in that 8-game win streak that came to a close Monday, they were holding teams under 17 points a game, and they were allowing teams to get kind of, into the red zone, but they wouldn't allow them to get it across.
They're fantastic situationally, and they know they're not going to be great on 1st and 2nd down because they don't have the same front 7 they've had in the years past. But boy, they get these guys coached up well on important downs.
There's Bell again. Looks like he might be hitting the backfield, but scoots ahead for a gain of 2. Now, consider, again, this drive without Antonio Brown is now over 8 minutes long.
It's a fantastic drive, and if you're Pittsburgh, you just kept Tom Brady on the side. You didn't give him the ball back. Belichick used a timeout trying to get that ball back, and for Pittsburgh to stay committed to the run. Todd Haley, Coach Tomlin, perfect.
2nd and goal, and stay on the ground with Bell. And he gets it to about the 4. And now a timeout called by the Steelers, and we'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Lowe's. They actually set the clock at 30 seconds. And Tony, some might be saying, well, hey, if you're trying to keep Brady off the field, why give him any chance? Why would you take the timeout at that point? You have an answer.
Well, because on 3rd and goal, if you throw it to the end zone, you get a PI, you get a 1st down. So you get too cute and take it down to 12 seconds, and you're like, it's just one play. All of a sudden, you lose the down possibly in there. So you want to give yourself that right amount, and this is right in the mix of it.
Now a timeout by New England. It's last. Again, the Verizon halftime report is coming up. JB and all the crew, they got scores and highlights. How about the Rams? 27-0 over Seattle at Seattle.
The Rams are for real.
And what a day it's been. I mean, Minnesota clinched the NFC North. Philadelphia clinched a 1st-round bye. Jacksonville clinched a playoff berth with its blowout win over Houston.
This is going to be, this playoffs, we know these two teams are the class because they have, these quarterbacks, and the defense for Pittsburgh, and Belichick there, but big play here. Back to the field.
Update, Rams now 34-0, I'm hearing. 3rd and goal. Hayward Bay flanking Roethlisberger. Now he moves him out for 5 wide. What will they do? 3rd and goal. He lobs it over the top, and it is reeled in. What a catch by Bryant for the touchdown.
You're going to see Martavis Bryant right here. He's got Gilmore in his face. Come across the field, be shallow, and Ben floats it way over. And he holds that left. See that left wrist holding his hand down? You better catch the ball when you only use one hand. But what a route and catch, and what a game so far by Martavis Bryant.
Extra point, Boswell is good. We met with Ben on Friday, and he was eager to tell us these guys don't know how to play against Bryant because they've never seen him. He said he could be the difference maker. That was the longest drive by time against the Patriots this year. 8 minutes and 39 seconds. And they converted on 3rd down on 4 occasions, including the touchdown. And now the Patriots field at the goal line. Lewis, who has a run back against Denver for a touchdown this year. He is met head on at about the 28. Patriots, again, without timeout. They did defer at the top, so they'll be seeing the football to start the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, they're just going to down this ball and go on to the 2nd half, and what a first half for these two teams. This is place is rocking. Pittsburgh's bringing it today. These two quarterbacks are both playing outstanding, and Ben Roethlisberger was the difference in that first half, him and Bryant. They needed him to have a great performance, and they're both having it so far.
It's the 6th straight half that the Steelers score in the final minute, and that one went for the touchdown. Roethlisberger, 15 of 19, 182 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And right now on 3rd down, Pittsburgh, I believe, is around 7 for 9 in the game, and that is one thing that Belichick is going in at halftime not happy about. That's where they've been, doing a great job in this turnaround on defense, and they're going to have to fix that in the 2nd half to have a chance.
Let's go down to Tracy.
Coach, what a way your team responded when Antonio Brown went down. Can you give us an update on him?
We don't expect him back tonight. I don't have anything other than that. Really, that's all that's important as we're here right now. So we got to be prepared to go with the guys that we have on the field and adjust, and they got to make some plays.
Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Time of possession was 20 minutes. Pittsburgh 10, New England. The score is 17-10 Steelers. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. Patriots about to receive the 3rd quarter kick. 7-point lead for the Steelers. What did you see there in the first half and looking ahead to the 2nd?
Well, I think in the 2nd half, we're going to see a different game plan from New England. Bill Belichick is the best in the NFL at adjustments within the game. You're going to see that from him. Offensively, both these teams are moving the ball really well. So I think you're going to see them not really disrupt too much with what they're doing. It's New England's defense that really has to make a little bit of a shift here now that Brown is out.
Eric Boswell sends it down in the rain, about 4 yards deep, no return. Both quarterbacks posting good numbers in that first half. Brady engineered that first drive down the field. Burkhead scored the touchdown from a yard out. Meanwhile, Roethlisberger found Eli Rogers on an 18-yard hookup for a score, and then the touchdown toss to Bryant.
What you see in big games when you go against two great quarterbacks is that you don't get a ton of possessions. Tom Brady had 3 possessions in that first half. The 4th one was a kneel down. If you're only going to get 6 to 8 in a game, you better make everyone count. 1 turnover loses this game.
New England had only 20 plays in that first half. Now on first down to start the 3rd, Pick up 8 yards on the throw over to Cooks, and we go down to Tracy for the latest.
Jim, I was just told by the Steelers PR staff that Antonio Brown is being taken to the hospital for further evaluation of that calf injury.
Oh, boy.
Wow. That changes the dynamic, not only today, but moving forward.
2nd and 3. As Lewis wiggles outside. Nice move by Lewis. Couple of them to pick up the first before Watt brings him down. The last we'd heard is that from Tracy was that they were taking x-rays down to the locker room, and now they're going to take him to a local hospital.
You know, that's tough. You never know. You're not going to speculate on what happened to him. You know how important he is to this team. An MVP candidate for the entire NFL. Wide receiver. It's never happened before, and he was in the discussion.
From the 37, first down, Brady. Flips it over to Allen, the tight end, for another 10 and a first.
Brady just looking them off in the zone coverage there, finding them. They came out with a couple of snaps, Pittsburgh, of man. We're going to see if they stay committed to it, which I think they will. They're starting to feel very comfortable with it.
There you see the first half. The numbers, again, just 20 plays run. Meanwhile, 35 on the Steelers side. Le'Veon Bell had 16 touches in that first half, almost as many touches as Patriot snaps. First down run, Lewis. Jump cut and yields about 6. So Lewis, who went to college at Pitt, and then Pitt and the Steelers train at the same facility, so he was around the Steeler organization during his college days, as he came in right behind LaShawn McCoy for the Panthers as a running back. And his record when he's been active for the Patriots is 27-2. 2nd and 4. Fake to Burkhead, now going over the top. Gronkowski, he pulls it down at the 25.
So they get man-to-man coverage. Sean Davis on Gronkowski, and you're going to see him go up the seam here. Brady with a perfect throw outside. Everyone says, well, how can you play man? They have Gronkowski. It's going to be a really hard deal. Well, what I would tell you is he shredded them when they played zone. 5 games against Pittsburgh. He's got 8 touchdowns. He averages basically 100 yards a game against them. You're going to give it up to Gronkowski, whether it's zone or man. You got to be willing to get up in his face.
That went for 22. There's Burkhead tripped and tries to get back on his feet, but they're going to mark him down after a gain of about 6.
I'll tell you, that Burkhead, they don't make many players like this. New England goes and finds him. You know what he is? We always talk about 3-down players. Burkhead's a 4-down player. He'll play all 3 downs, and then he'll 4th down, he'll be on the punt team.
Yeah, special teams
guy. He'll be on the kickoff.
Yeah.
You don't find those players in the NFL.
There he is, getting thrown back by Vince Williams to keep him a yard short of a first. And right now, as you see this hit, you look around this building, it'll be 3rd and 1 coming up. But a lot of folks haven't returned to their seats, customary coming out of the halftime break. And this is why, if you're New England, why you defer. You try to be the team on the road that catches the home crowd quiet or not in place.
I've been saying it for years, defer. You'll always get 1 possession on the road, and you'll get it as if you're basically at your home place. You only get half the stadium. They're all going to the bathroom or getting a drink.
Maybe both.
That's a false start.
Wow. Turns it into 3rd and 6.
False start. Offense, number 83. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
That's the first penalty against the Patriots. That was Allen with a little flinch. He comes out.
Here we go, big time play, 3rd and 6. Going to see what Tom Brady draws up. Where's he putting Gronk?
Putting him on the left side.
You're going to get man-to-man coverage. They're going to just ride it out. They're confident in it. Everyone's pressed all over the field. This guy's going to drop in the middle.
Pass caught and stopped short of the first. White with the catch. And Artie Burns denied him getting close to the chains.
You're going to see a kind of a little pick play on the side. He throws it. It's a little behind him. But James White can't quite get the first down, and New England known for big aggressive play calls. Here we go, 4th down on the road, Heinz Field. This crowd's gonna get rocking.
His 4th and 1.
Uh-oh, they got Gronk out at the single.
Going up top for it, and Gronkowski holds on for the first. Picks up 11.
When you put Gronk outside one-on-one and you're going to play man, you're asking Artie Burns to guard a guy at least twice his size, it looks like, when he's standing there. And Gronk is a tough matchup. And you saw Brady with that little signal right before the snap. It was subtle. It was just a little hand gesture. He told him to run a slant based on the coverage. Give Bill Belichick credit. That's why they win Super Bowls. He's got guts.
1st and goal at the 6. Burkhead off the right side for about 1. So the Patriots' first possession of the game went for a touchdown rather quickly. And now trying to take this opening possession of the 3rd quarter and do the same thing. Although Burkhead, who scored that touchdown, is still on the field. Burkhead. Burkhead did walk under his own power to the sideline. Lewis is the running back, Devlin the fullback. 11th play of this opening series of the 3rd quarter. 2nd and goal. Brady up top. Lofts it. Gronk stripped out of his hands by Hilton.
So this is a play where the tight end, Gronkowski, you'll see right there, Gronkowski pretends like he's blocking, and then he throws his guy and goes to the flat. Look at, now throw him. And that way the run defender, who's Hilton, plays the run, and you get that little leverage. This is a drop. Gronk is going to hate seeing that tomorrow.
Now 3rd and goal. Brady, last moment, throws it for the touchdown to Cooks. Looked like Tom thought about going ahead and trying to run it across, and at the last moment he fired it in there for Cooks.
Yeah, he thought about it, and then he remembered he was 40.
That's right.
And he decided to throw a strike. Watch him step up in the pocket, and Cooks gets inside leverage on
the rookie.
Cameron Sutton, the rookie. And what a throw. I mean, to throw that one that tightly.
What a drive. 12 plays, 75 yards. They had a 4th down conversion on that drive.
I mean, Pittsburgh's defense played well on that drive. New England's offense just played better. They made the plays when they had to. This is high-level football on both sides.
Now Gostkowski for the extra point to tie it. And that kick is no good. Took a while to get the snap down, the hold, the placement. The timing was a fraction off. Just watch. So Gostkowski missed a PAT in the regular season matchup last year here at Heinz Field. Now that one again was a little bit off. The laces never got spun around in time. And the Steelers maintain the lead now by 1. Saturday, the CBS Sports Classic. Bunch of powerhouses getting together. Ohio State takes on 7th-ranked North Carolina. And then UCLA collides with 8th-ranked Kentucky. It all starts with Inside College Basketball, 1 Eastern here on CBS. So that long drive to start the 3rd by New England, when you factor that in along with the halftime break, it's been over a half an hour since the Pittsburgh offense was on the field. And when they were on the field, that was that drive that lasted more than half the 2nd quarter. The toss to Bell. Got a block. And McCourty finally forces him out of real estate. That was James who helped throw a block on that side. Pickup of 18.
Watch the tackle, who was a backup, Hubbard. Chris Hubbard here. He's going to pull outside, and he's going to get to the edge. And you see him right here. He's got Gilmore in his sights, and Gilmore takes a dive right there to try and get out of the way. And that right there clears the hole. Start watching the safeties get down for New England now. They're not going to let this continue to happen. See how he's back there, right there by himself? They started to play earlier, like with another guy back. They're not going to play anymore. Antonio Brown is out of the game.
So Bell comes around in motion and takes it on the sweep. And he's got another big gain. So he rips off a couple of big runs. That time, Smith-Schuster helped clear the way for 15.
Smith-Schuster is an incredible find for Pittsburgh. You're going to see him right here. And he's going to go ahead and get to the edge. Keep getting to the edge on this defense. Pittsburgh's going twice with toss plays.
And quickly advances the football to the Patriots. 42. 2 plays by Bell, 2 rushes for 33 yards. Now going up top. Look long, goes underneath, incomplete. James the target.
And this is exactly what they did in the AFC title game. They got pressure on the inside. Trey Flowers run these stunts. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get him off his spot in the middle. They want Ben almost the same as they're doing with Brady. They want these quarterbacks to move laterally. They don't want them stepping up. They're both darn near unstoppable stepping up in the pocket. Moving laterally, you have a chance.
Matt Patricia's defense making halftime adjustments. You would think after Roethlisberger's success. 2nd and 10. Hesitation. And still nothing is open for no gain. The third quarter in that AFC title game, the game was close at halftime. And in fact, the Steelers squandered an opportunity right before the intermission in that one. And in the third quarter, the Patriots just dominated, broke it open.
Yeah, when you go back and watch the tape, everyone's like, hey, you got to do something defensively. The offense didn't play that well for Pittsburgh. They were in the game for a long time. The offense didn't bring it. Today, you're seeing Pittsburgh offense kind of control the line of scrimmage and control the game. And this is a big-time play. Needs some yards for a field goal at least.
And they've been great on third down so far, 7 out of 9. But they need to pick up 10 on this one. Incomplete. Bell wrestled down after the incompletion by Richards. And the crowd didn't like it. But they'll be punting with Barry.
Nobody was open on this play. Ben went through all 4 or 5 guys out there in the route. Tries to get rid of the ball and get some yards, but New England sat on all the routes.
There's Amendola on the prowl back at the 8. Knuckleball down to about the 10. Look at Hayward Bay shadowing Amendola. Brady will come out and start this next series from his 10-yard line, down 17-16.
Y'all good.
There's the possession chart for the Patriots. Of course, one of them just a kneel down before the half, but they score on the first possession of each half. And the only thing that separates these teams right now is a missed point after. From the 11, Lewis caught the backfield. That was Dupree who had first contact on him.
See Pittsburgh playing aggressive, and today New England, they're recognizing. They know it's man now. So you're going to see at the bottom of the screen, here's Amendola. Go in, make him feel that, and go back out. And then you see Gronk one-on-one. Going to run right up the seam. There's no hiding the coverage here. You're basically telling Tom Brady what we're in. But that's what you have to do. That's the way to beat them. Make these tough throws.
2nd and 13. Play action, across the middle, Gronk open and picks up about 17 and a first.
He's so big and strong. We see this play every week. It's a fake handoff, and you see him right here. Watch him push off. You're going to see him go right up on the field and just run right away from Sean Davis.
I mean, just strong enough, just that little shove right at the line of scrimmage, enough to get him off balance and never catch up.
Yeah, it's like Shaq. It's just like when he wants to move toward the hoop, it just moves you at 2 more feet than you're used to getting moved.
Brady lost it, incomplete. Here were Steelers trying to wreck that play in the backfield. Let's go back down to Tracy.
Jim, after being checked briefly in the blue tent, Rex Burkhead was taken directly to the locker room, and he was immediately declared out for the game with a left knee injury.
You know what? That's the one position that New England's okay with. Bill Belichick told us that's the strongest deep position on our team, running back. Mike Gillislee, who's been playing good football, doesn't even dress. Normally someone goes down. He'll be dressing here if Burkhead's out in the future.
2nd and 10. There's Lewis spinning to within about 3 of the first. 3rd down on the way. Yeah, Gillislee's been inactive now for the last month and a half, but they feel pretty solid about things because guys like right there, James White coming onto the field. Dion Lewis, what he's done.
3rd and 2. Man-to-man all the way. This is great. Mano-a-mano. Vince Williams on James White outside. Gronk in the slot. Can Pittsburgh get a pass rush?
They got to him, and it's intercepted. It's Williams who finally was able to pull it in. The pressure was on Brady. He had to unload it, and he's picked off for the first time in 12 years against Pittsburgh.
This place is going nuts. Brady's trying to stand in. The pass rush gets to him. They rushed 4 guys this year, not 3 like the last few games against him. The pocket collapses. Tom lets it go. Comes off high, and he knows he made a mistake. Hargrave right up the middle. We got ourselves a football game, Jim.
Oh, that's been something from the start. His first interception against Pittsburgh in 301 pass attempts in over 7.5 games worth of action.
How many years is that?
Yeah, 12 years. 2005. Chris Hope. Now the Steelers with a short field from the 22. Bell. Going to be marked out of bounds at about the 17. Picked up 5.
See Smith-Schuster with another block. That's a DN he's got a block right there. Trey Flowers.
Tell you, Hubbard also took Butler off his feet. And now what do they do here? 2nd and 5 in the red zone.
Ah, man, just I keep Bell is our workhorse. This guy's getting the ball. New England's got to get down in there. You can't let them just give Bell this ball over and over again.
There he is, Bell. Takes on the challenge, charges ahead, and takes a couple of players to push him back, including David Harris. It'll be 3rd and a long 1 for the Steelers.
Now it gets interesting. You're going to bring in an extra lineman.
It's Hawkins.
Fullback in the game. New England's going to reduce their front and get a lot of guys right over that center and guard area. They're going to make you run wide on them. Do you have the guts to run outside?
Going to fake the run to Bell. Backpedaling and throwing and connecting for the first down to Grimble at the 5-yard line.
This is incredible. He's not even out yet. Where is he? He didn't even get out of the pile till now. Grimble's in this pile. You're going to see him right here on the edge of the line. Watch how long this takes. Play fake's going to come. Blocking, blocking. Can't get out, can't get out. Ben doesn't know where to go with the ball. Finally, he comes into his vision. That's when he's like, good job, Todd Haley, good job.
And good job, Xavier Grimble, just his 4th catch of the year. Setting up a 1st and goal at the 5. There go Bell. Dancing around and going back outside. He pops outside, Ben's in front. Puts a forearm shove on Butler, pushes him back, and all that excitement for a gain of about 2.
Just simple double team blocks. We know how patient Bell is. He finds an opening, and Ben.
Look at Ben.
Tries to show off a
Trying to do his thing, do his part.
He tried.
How about the
Shove on Butler.
shove on Butler? Second and goal at the 3.
Getting chippy out here. They know the game's getting tight and in balance here.
It's Bell. He cuts back and he's in for the touchdown. Le'Veon Bell for the Steelers. Running behind DeCastro.
Bell with a great run. Look at Roberts. Go get the ball. Go get the ball. He had an angle for him, and you see he just shot the gap. Linebacker 52 Roberts, and Bell outruns him to the sideline.
And now the extra point for the 8-point lead by Boswell. And despite a fast closing Patriot on the edge, the kick is away and good. The interception by Williams set it up. Bell finishes it off. Again, this game will have such a big role in determining who will be the #1 seed in the playoffs. It cannot be wrapped up today. For example, if Pittsburgh wins, because Jacksonville won earlier today, yeah, they'll have the inside track, but it would actually put Pittsburgh at 1, Jacksonville at 2, and New England at 3 if it broke that way. Patriot win would give them the inside track for the 1 seed. Of course, the Patriots, if the Patriots win, would take the division for the 9th consecutive year. They have not wrapped up their division yet. Again, with the Buffalo win earlier today. Next week, Buffalo will be playing at Gillette Stadium. Rain falling throughout this one. The throw, and boy, he must have seen at the last moment Hilton get in that lane, and it sailed over the head of White. Incomplete. Yeah, there's all kinds of scenarios, and everybody's been talking about Pittsburgh, New England, and maybe it's the first of a 2-round match. Well, you know, here's Jacksonville. If the Pittsburgh Steelers win this game, Jacksonville would slide up to the 2 because of a tiebreaker edge at the moment over New England. And if they won out, and the Jags, well, they would have a first-round bye. And again, that's with the Steeler win. Here's Brady throwing to Gronk, who's having a big quarter. Gronk's 4th catch of this quarter.
So this is the one area. Gronk is the guy who's beating the man coverage. Right here, this is what we call guys covering. He's rat player. Watch this. He's going to be the rat player. Gronk's going to go over the middle. And as he goes over the middle, he's got to feel where Gronk is. And if you see, I believe it's Williams, 98. If he is the helper. When I say rat player, it means you're just a helper. You help the one guy who's really good man, right? That's what you got to do. Find him. Get into that zone.
Here's the give for no gain. It's Lewis again. Lewis with 9 rushes for 36.
Brady's not silly. He knows it's man now, and he knows that my best man guy is Gronkowski. I'm going to keep going at him until they adjust. That little helper inside, that's the way if you're Pittsburgh on the sideline. Hey, look it now. When you drop back into that helper area, look where Gronk is and start to help toward him more.
You saw the rookie T.J. Watt, number 90. Brady directing traffic, and it's dropped by Devlin, setting up 3rd and 9.
Brady's directing traffic, throws it. Devlin's got to come up with that.
Gronk slipped on his route.
But they did a better job. Williams got right back into that window to take it away that time. Good adjustment by Williams.
Bring 5 this time. Brady in trouble, has to unload it, and it's incomplete. He got hit on the throw by Tuitt.
You can't feel the energy in this place, but this D-line is bringing it. Tuitt gets on a TE, we call it, which means him. The end and the tackle are switching spots, and they get around the edge.
Ryan Allen to punt to Eli Rogers. He implores his teammates to stay away from us. He watches it bound inside the 5, and that's covered up by the likes of Matthew Slater, who's one of the best in the business and has been for years. We'll be back after this from FedEx. I know they were thrilled to have Matthew Slater back on Monday night. He missed a lot of action with a hamstring injury, but he's been a special teams hero, contributor for this team for many years. You know, when a punt's coming down the field like this, he's going to be right in the middle of it.
How about the soft touch? You know, not to whack it backwards 10 yards, but just to barely soft touch it as you're sliding. Heads up play.
So he pins Pittsburgh back inside the 5. It'll mark it, actually, it looks like at the 3 with just 1 snap to go in this quarter.
New England, I'd get up here and really try and do something to get a minus play or something where they have to throw the ball from this end zone. Don't let them run for 5-6 yards on first down.
Bell able to get him out of that jam. He picks up 8 to close out the 3rd.
That's Le'Veon Bell at Pittsburgh, controlling the line of scrimmage. Big play to get out of a hole.
He goes over 100 for the game, and we go to the 4th in Pittsburgh. All right, Tone, ready for 15 more?
Tell you what, if it's anything like the first 3 quarters, we're in for a treat at this finish.
Yes. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. And happy holidays to everybody. Good one going here in the Steel City. We start the 4th, 2nd and 2. Bell, look at him. Slip out of a tackle by Brown and pick up 5. You know, the pedigree of these two franchises, you take Robert Kraft and the Patriots, or you take the Rooney family and the Steelers. These two franchises, of the last 16 AFC representatives in the Super Bowl, 10 times it's been either New England or Pittsburgh. 10 of the last 16 years, one of these two have been to the big game. Of course, the last game that Art's father, Dan Rooney, ever saw was the AFC Championship game last January at Gillette. Ambassador Rooney passing away last April. Hall of Famer and legend. Honor with the carry out to about the 17.
Yeah, you're talking about 2 legendary names right there. Kraft, Rooney. I mean, that means something in the National Football League.
You saw the patch being worn all season long by the Steelers, remembering their late owner.
Ball 2.
It's a 2nd and 9. 4th quarter, by the way, performance by Pittsburgh the last 5 weeks been sensational. Outscoring opponents 70-14. That's a completion to Smith-Schuster, but he's short by about 3 of the first. It'll be 3rd and 3 coming up. Here you see they've outscored opponents 70-14. Now, wild one against Baltimore. Look at the total yards, though, in those games. By the way, the win against the Ravens, 39-38. It's the first time in Steeler franchise history they ever allowed 38 points and won a game.
Yeah, they were down 11, I believe, in the 4th quarter and came back. That's hard to do. Giving up 38 and winning the game's hard. This team can win a lot of different ways. Some weeks it's defense, some weeks it's offense.
And what did Ben tell us? There's been no panic in this team. It's one thing he thinks is a hallmark for this group. 3rd and 3. With pressure, he got it away to Bell. He was able to shake off a hit with that size. Roethlisberger did get hit.
That's the same play we saw earlier. I haven't seen this play before.
Got hit by Chung.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. He has a way of getting back up every time. But the route, you know, those never feel good, and Ben knows that. Yeah, I'm okay, he said. But that route by Bell, it's the wheel route that stops and come back. That's a great route because everyone thinks you're trying to get a home run on 3rd and 1. You're getting man coverage, you're going down the field, and you stop and just throw a little hitch route. Todd Haley's playing perfect game with the calls.
Bell waits again for it to unfold. And then is pushed back for no gain. Jean-Francois, one of those in on the tackle. They just re-signed him again. Quarterbacks in this game, each with 18 completions, similar yardage.
Right now, the interception's really the difference in the game. So few possessions. Two quarterbacks who can move the chains on third down, continue the drives. Give them one extra possession, goes a long way.
Got a 2nd and 10 on this drive that began back at the 3. Bell. And he gets about halfway there, maybe a little beyond. So Bell churning out some big yardage. He's at 23 carries, 116 yards, and he came in leading the league in rushing, although he had not had a 100-yard game in his last 6 appearances. He's got one today.
I don't think New England cares. I think New England has just decided this year that 1st and 2nd down, they're willing to not give up the big play, let you run for a little bit, and try and get off the field on a lot of 3rd and 2 to 4s. Play great tight coverage there, and they can do it for a down here and there. I think they've morphed into that type of team.
Timeout called by the Steelers. As the play clock was down to 2, they were nowhere close to set. Hayward Bay looks to be a little bit banged up. By the way, next Sunday on Christmas Eve Day, it's all about playoff spots. Buffalo and New England. The Bills will come into Gillette at 8-6. We just saw that matchup a couple of weeks ago. Tony, we're going to see it again. Buffalo and New England, our headliner on a regional day of action. Of course, it all starts with JB and all of our buddies in the studio. Phil, Coach, Nate, Boomer. 12 noon Eastern on the 24th. The NFL on CBS.
3rd and 4. 9 for 11. You see on 3rd down today, a lot of 3rd and shorts and mediums. Usually New England gets off the field, not today. Eli Rogers going in motion. He's the guy in this coverage.
Then steps up, takes off and dives for the first with a couple of yards to spare.
And Ben's looking at Eli Rogers, and Eli actually gets open on a corner route, but Ben feels Trey Flowers get right up next to him and has to take off. And really, that field, to feel that right side as he's looking left, that's a hard thing. That's a God-given instinct right there to have that just feel in the pocket.
And how about 3rd down conversions today as they stretch out Hayward Bay? 10 of 13. Big part of the story of this game. That's Connor. And Connor able to peel off another nice run, even though there is a marker back. Looks like it's coming back. Back near the line of scrimmage.
Offense number 78. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 1st down.
Alejandro Villanueva called for that.
Yeah, he's holding Ricky Jean-Francois. And the run's right at him. He's the left tackle right there. And you're going to see he jumps off and he gets him. And he just grabs that left shoulder pad and he tries to whip his hands away. When you whip your hands away real fast, you give a chance to get called pretty quickly.
Tomlin arguing that call. That's the first penalty of the 2nd half against Pittsburgh. 1st and 20. And they go to Connor again. Gain of 2. And again, for some of you just joining us, we've got Connor injured on this play. And we're going to mention that Antonio Brown was injured in the 1st half of this game. He was taken in for x-rays and then later taken to a local hospital. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson back here in Pittsburgh. Steelers controlling the football for 30 minutes time of possession. And the rookie running back was just taken into the blue tent. James Conner assisted off the field. 2nd and 18.
False start. Offense number 78. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
So you've talked a lot about how Pittsburgh had to really approach this thing differently on defense. It's obviously it's worked. It's a different look than the other matchups between these teams in the past. What else do you think has to happen the rest of the way for the Steelers to go on and win this thing?
They got to score. I think what you know is New England's not going away.
Yeah.
They're really good. They're battle tested. Obviously, they have the leader in Tom Brady. He's going to put them back in position. But Pittsburgh has that guy, Ben Roethlisberger. He's a Hall of Famer too. So to me, you go win the football game with your Hall of Famer.
2nd and 23, and on the draw it's Toussaint getting the carry. Fitzgerald, Toussaint.
See, I'd have told the coach right there, I'd have been like, hey, I'm throwing this ball. You got 9 minutes to go in the game. If I go down and get a field goal, Tom Brady's chances just went way down. I don't have to be aggressive. You trust your quarterback there. You rip a slant. You throw an in cut. You get in 4th or 3rd and manageable. You know, now on 3rd and 21, you know, someone's got to be a hero to get this first down.
Todd Haley, the bearded one, you saw in a shot. He is facing long odds here. Got to get all the way out to the 48 to pick up the first. Patriots rush 3. Go underneath to Bryant. Patriots have him surrounded. And they're happy to give up the 6 or 7 yards and force the punt. You'd like to have seen 2nd down handled differently.
Well, when I got a quarterback that I trust and think is fantastic, I got 2nd and 18, 2nd and 20, or, you know, I'm throwing the football and I'm saying, hey, 2nd down, you can get 15 yards. It's a lot harder to get 15 on 3rd down. So I'd give myself every opportunity on 2nd down to get back in manageable position.
Here's Barry, no pressure. And the fair catch is handled by Amendola. By the way, that was a 7-minute drive by the Steelers that traveled only 31 yards. Why does the game feel like it goes in slow motion when it's actually going so fast? Oh, they just played Renegade here at Heinz Field. That always stirs the crowd. Half a quarter to go.
Oh, Brady just changed the play. I think he's going to a run.
You got it, Tony. Here's the handoff to Lewis, who breaks a couple of tackles, and then is finished off by Davis, who comes up to help out Hargrave.
I want to know right now if Pittsburgh's willing to go tight man for this drive with the game on the line, or do you go with who you are and play zone, get into 3 buzz, cover 2, all the stuff they've done, 3 blitz. Let's see. This is going to be a great one.
There's a pass right side, and it's caught. Forward progress? No, they mark him a yard short. That's Cooks with the catch. Sutton dropped him after a gain of 6.
You see Tom Brady rip that all the way to the other sideline. 3rd and 1.
Not sure New England loved that spot.
And that's a healthy one too. That's not just inches, but Tom's used to getting in there and handing it off. Look it. He wanted to see if he could quarterback sneak it. Probably not. Got to hand it off to the back now.
There's the give. Wide open lane for Lewis. And he runs out to about the 49. And we're going right back to JB in the studio for an update.
Hey, Jim, 17 unanswered by Tennessee.
Yeah, Rashard Matthews, Tennessee number 18, little stick move to the back of the end zone, 8-yard touchdown.
10:46 in counting left in regulation. Back to Jim Nance.
JB, Phil, thank you. That last run by Lewis went for 12. It was the longest Patriot rush of the game. To give, Lewis. And Hilton, while falling down, is able to hold on along with Sean Davis with the whammy hit, gain of 7. And there's some finger pointing going on.
New England's gotten into shotgun, and they're letting Tom Brady call the ball play at the line of scrimmage. And right now, the chess match begins with Holden. Oh, you see the little hit at the end.
Yeah, by Davis.
He's looking to see the coverage. He's going to tell everyone where to go, the protection. Going to look out to the right. I like it. It's man-to-man.
2nd and 3. As he goes way down the field, and it is caught by Cooks.
I think he's out of bounds, though.
I do too. He definitely came in from out of bounds. He was a yard out, a couple of steps out. And that 37-yard pass play is coming back.
The New England receiver went out of bounds, came back in, first to touch the pass. It's illegal touching. Offense carries the lost down at previous spot.
He's up
Third
top
down.
here. Artie Burns is on him, and you're going to see him outside release. The problem is when you go that wide, you got to restack them. Don't keep getting pushed out wide. What a throw. I mean, that is crazy high level to be standing flat-footed looking right, come back left and throw it 40 yards on the sideline all the way to the sideline. Cooks has to stay in bounds there. Pittsburgh getting in their face here. Man, 2-man here.
And that was a loss of down, so it sets up 3rd and 3. And they go right back down the sideline, and it is incomplete. And the flag's coming out on Artie Burns.
Pass interference, defense, number 25. Ball is placed and spotted a foul, automatic first down.
Artie Burns lined up. He knows he's got to get physical with him and tries to push him. The same thing, tries to wall him off and go out of bounds, and he does. He holds him right there. It's a good call.
23 yards on the penalty, puts it at the 21.
He's signaling outside. He likes one-on-one. Oh, they're trying to get out of the play.
Pass thrown incomplete for Amendola. Mike Mitchell came flying in at the last moment.
Tom Brady calls all-go special. Basically, everyone runs an all-go. And 2-by-2, it's just all-go, and he runs it down the field. And Amendola peeks to see where the safety is. And Hilton in the coverage. Mitchell had a chance at it. Tom can run that on every play because they're going to line up and play man on each one of these plays if he wants to. One of these safeties will probably drop down right here.
Look at the space for Amendola in the slot. As Brady goes left, and it's knocked away by Burns at the last moment. Cooks wanting a flag but doesn't get it.
One-on-one outside. Burns playing heavy. Brandon Cooks got to come up with that one. Good job by Artie Burns getting his hand right in there. Every single play, Tom can come up and throw it outside on one of these go routes. He could do it again here if he wanted to. Does Pittsburgh change it up?
He's got to get 10 for the first. 3rd down. Pressure and dumped back at the 28 by Bud Dupree.
Same coverage, man-to-man, tight, disrupt the timing at the line, and get the inside push by Tuitt, and Dupree finishes it off. Hayward, Tuitt, Dupree.
And now the field goal try from 46 yards.
Got to kick the field goal here. Have to. No decision here. Have to kick the field goal.
Gostkowski from 46, and that kick is good. Just inside 4 minutes to go. Steelers up by 5. 24-19. Pittsburgh about to receive the kick, and now what will be the strategy here for Roethlisberger and the Todd Haley run offense?
I'm going to tell you after this kickoff.
It's a kick to Toussaint. And he waits for a couple of Patriots to fly by him. Fails to make it to the 20, and we're going to touch on that in just a second. But first, a couple of the headlines from early today. Yes, Jacksonville in a romp And Jacksonville clinches a playoff berth, its first in 10 years. Congratulations to them. Philadelphia wins to clinch a first-round bye. And yes, Minnesota crushes the Bengals, and they take their division, the NFC North. But here, it has so much to do in this one with which team will have home field advantage in the AFC playoffs. Doesn't lock anything up, but gives each of these teams a tremendous inside track with 2 weeks to go. First down run, Bell slips, Gilmore there, gain of 1. So, Tone, take me through it.
Well, I know this. If you're going to beat the Patriots, you're going to have to be aggressive. And to me, when they know what you're doing, they're even better. They're very well coached. Outstanding, philosophically. You've got to put the ball in Ben Roethlisberger's hands for at least 2 of these 3 downs. And I would have done a play action or something on first down, a screen to the receiver, something that gets the ball outside when they're expecting a run. Ben has to go win this game with at least a couple first downs. Maybe 1 gets it done. We'll see, 2.
2nd and 9. Wanting to throw. Look at him shake off those tackles. And now keep it and dive down at the 25. They had him wrapped up, including Eric Lee had hold of him. Turns the sack into a 5-yard gain.
Yeah, and he has time. And the thing is, the play develops. He had a check down, but he couldn't quite get to it. He does a good job getting out. Malcolm Brown and Eric Lee provide the pressure. Now here we go.
Yeah, now you got a 3rd and 4. And you're at 2:40 clock running, and New England with all 3 timeouts. Huge snap coming up. He's going to move Smith-Schuster around to the right side. Pocket sealed, across the middle. Patriots there to defend it and stop him short. A yard short. First to get to him was Harmon.
Well, you see, we talked about earlier in the game, these shallow crosses. When they come across the field, these guys are going to get in the mix. You're going to have an extra defender get down there. And when that happens, you see the safety get right down there. And Smith-Schuster thinks he has the leverage, and you see right behind him is Eli Rogers coming into the window.
Now look at Harmon. And by the way, the Patriots called timeout to stop it at 2:16 to go.
That's why I want to throw the ball on first down. I want to throw it on first down and get yards. I want to get a first down on first down.
As the first 3 and out of the game for either side.
I just wouldn't, to me, my quarterbacks, we have a lot of great football players, but I want him having the ball to go win the game. They had an opportunity there, 2nd and 3rd down, but the coverages you get on first down when they know you're running it, boy, it's just simple sometimes just to get the ball outside the numbers and throw it.
Amendola eyeing down the field. Line drive kick, but it's a deep one. Can be returned. Amendola, crowd wants a clip call. Block in the back, there's no flag. Tackle at the 23-yard line after the 60-yard punt. So Brady 50 times.
Is that a real stat?
Yes,
50?
it is. Here's the lineup tonight on CBS. Ball begins with 60 Minutes, an important new investigation, followed by new episodes of Wisdom of the Crowd in CIS Los Angeles. Madam Secretary tonight, only CBS. First, a little high drama from Heinz Field with 2:06 to play. There's pass, almost intercepted. Could have been a game ender had Sean Davis held on to it. The ball was deflected. Looked like Hayward got the hand on it.
Oh my gosh, Sean Davis to win the football game in his hands. And I can tell you right now, when Tom Brady gets a reprieve or something happens.
Yeah, you know what happens after that, right?
He is a killer.
And they also, that falls at 2:01. That's a break also. They get another play on the north side of the 2-minute warning. Pressure, unloads, got Gronkowski at the 50. And Davis, who dropped the pass, drops Gronkowski after a gain of 26. We're coming down to the wire with, in what all likelihood is for home field of the playoffs. We're back coming out of the 2-minute warning with 1:55 to be exact. 1st and 10, Patriots from their 49. Brady down the field and open is Gronk. He's getting separation now.
Look at this. Gronk's going to go across the field, and it's zone right here. And they decide to blitz. And I haven't done this in the game, and this is not bad defense. That was an incredible throw and an incredible catch. I like the defensive call coming after him, getting the ball out of his hands there. But, man, that was high level.
That is Gronk's 6th catch of the half. Over 100 yards alone in this half. 8 for the game. 151. You saw his Hulk reaction, and they are fired up. He got about halfway there with that catch.
Brady's going to call the plays at the line of scrimmage now based on the coverage.
Here's a 1st down throw. And off the ground, Gronkowski, it is a catch. And he strikes the pose again.
You got plenty of time if you're New England. Gronkowski in man-to-man coverage runs across the field, and does he make the catch?
Game clock to 1 minute. 1 minute.
That's a catch. Timeout there by Pittsburgh trying to save time, and that's a catch.
What an amazing catch.
For a guy of that size,
come on.
People don't realize how hard it is. I mean, to bend down at that height, size, I mean, look at slide in the pocket.
Yeah, it's just shaking off a possible sack, and then again, reaching down so gracefully. And you mentioned it, but the Steelers called timeout, leaving them with 1. They added a few seconds on the clock. It's a minute to go.
I love the timeout by Pittsburgh here. And if you're New England, you want to run the football in this play to make them use their last one.
Steelers have 1 left. There's Lewis. And he's in for the touchdown. With 56 seconds to go, the Patriots have taken the lead.
I think they're going to go for 2. They should go for 2 here. They sent out the kicking team. Send them back. Yep, they're going back.
Got to go for 2.
Yep. And just it's a perfect play call because, number 1, they're playing the pass.
By the way, 77 yards in 70 seconds.
And guess what? They had the interception in Sean Davis's hands to start the drive. You can't give Tom Brady a second chance. He's an assassin.
But Pittsburgh does have enough time to do something, plus 1 timeout. And this has been the constant storyline for them this past month, winning at the end with a Boswell kick. But this could make the margin 3 if they convert the 2.
It's a fade right here if he's one-on-one. Are they going to go double? Tom's looking at the safety.
Got to go to him again. Wide open. Gronk pulls it down for the 2. He's killing Davis. In the second half, he's just mauled this defense.
I don't see how you leave him singled up on that play. That's Gronk, just too powerful and strong down there.
11 points in exactly 3 minutes on the clock.
Look at that. Made him.
There's never a doubt that's where Brady was going to look.
No, and he made him feel slant. Boom, Sean Davis gets just off balance.
And now the Steelers will have 56 seconds to try to drive down the field, and a field goal would tie it.
Give Mike Tomlin credit. The moment they got down there, most coaches would not have called a timeout right away.
Yes.
They would have been like, oh, it's a big play. And Ben Roethlisberger has been here before. He's seen this guy go do that to him. But you know what, Ben? You got 1 chance right now in 56 seconds. 1 timeout. It's possible. 3 points.
Well, he made it very clear to us Friday in our production meeting. We've been in this situation and we never panicked. That's what he said. They've scored in the final minute 6 straight games. Hesitation, the 6 straight halves, that is. And there is Smith-Schuster decides to bring it out to about the 21. Yeah,
so here we go. 1 timeout. You got 52 seconds. Realistically, the 40-yard line is the point you want to get to. Your kicker's fantastic. You got to trust him here. You need about 40 yards. first down, you're looking for probably anywhere from 10 to 15. There's no handoffs in this whole drive. You do not check the ball down if you can only get 5 or 6 yards. Everything has to be a little bit of a chunk, almost 10 to 15 yards, or one big play.
And again, you got to do it without Antonio Brown, the top receiver in the league. Across the middle, Smith-Schuster running for that sideline, take as much as he can, then he breaks away, now he cuts it up the middle, still on his feet, looking for some help, inside the 15, and all the way to the 10-yard line.
Timeout if you're Pittsburgh, timeout, Pittsburgh.
69 yards.
This incredible. It's a crossing route, and he comes underneath real flat, and he gets away.
Richards missed him.
Rowe, yes, and Eric Rowe just can't run with him. And Schuster, the rookie, Smith-Schuster, I mean, I can't believe that happened.
It's made it look like it's going to be about a 10, 15-yard gain, and it turns into a nearly 70-yard play as he gallops past the Patriots and cuts it back down to the 10-yard line. And they, of course, do use their last timeout with 34 seconds to go.
Oh, man, it just bent perfectly. Good job. Call the timeout right away, right when he gets tackled. Save it. It would have taken you another 15, 20 seconds to get up and snap a ball that far. Well done by the staff getting that timeout. Now, here you go. 34 seconds. I'm throwing the ball to the end zone. You have time to throw it inside, but you really want to. Look, this is a running back. That's Bell. Here's Hayward Bay. He's going to motion probably over here, or there's some funky play that got faking it to him.
To the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, Pittsburgh! Jesse James! 2 plays, they take it the distance.
Look at James. Now, Smith-Schuster's going to wall off the safety, and James is right in front of him. He's down, but no one touches him, so he's going to get in the end zone. This is going to stand unless he gets touched.
No, he's in. He never got touched.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger for the drive of the year for him so far, and they've had some good ones. This is outstanding.
A 2-play drive.
They should do that every drive. That would be a lot easier.
And now there's going to be an extra point try to make the margin 4. It's crucial because you still have New England on its side with 2 timeouts in 28 seconds. So you want to take field goal out of play for the Patriots by knocking in the point after. They are verifying it upstairs, and there's no doubt it's going to hold up.
New England is stunned right now. They had this game. No one touches them. That's going to stand.
I think they're still just in shock at how they were unable to get Smith-Schuster under control.
Well, that first down play call, it was a perfect storm. There's a subtle play.
I don't know why this is taking so long to review it, because clearly Harmon's nowhere close to him. Unless they're looking at the football, did it wiggle or anything to the ground? Well, it looks like a touchdown to me.
So on the very long play, when Smith-Schuster was coming down, Le'Veon Bell gets a double block on the sideline.
Are they looking at the football, possibly losing control here?
Oh, that's what it is, Jim. They don't think he caught it. Oh, boy. Let's see that again now. That's exactly right.
I mean, is that possession?
Does he maintain control right here? He's got to maintain possession. Does that bobble in his... Oh. Guys, that's... Did he have control?
We've had this discussion almost every week about how sensibility comes in. Is it a catch? Does it look like a catch?
This one's tough. I mean, this could go either way. That ball moves in his hand. I mean, this is...
That's why they're taking so long with it.
It moved, though, right? You saw it move.
It definitely moved. Did he have enough control through the play?
He's stretching out. He doesn't need to stretch out. Just make sure you catch it.
I mean, it's only a decision that might be the difference between hosting the AFC Championship game or not. Who knows?
After reviewing the play, the receiver in the end zone did not survive the ground. It's an incomplete pass.
Oh, my
It'll be
goodness.
Pittsburgh's ball.
Believable.
Second down and 10 at the 10-yard line. The game clock is correct, and we'll start on the next snap.
Now they got to go try to win it again. It is fractions.
It is fractions, and really I could see it. I mean, you see I has possession, and it moves right there. Based on the rule, I think they made the right call, but it's just a backbreaker for Pittsburgh. Now you get in that huddle, Ben Roethlisberger, and you tell your guys, doesn't matter.
And you also remind them, guys, we have no timeouts.
You get out of bounds if you're on the sideline and you can't get in. You can still check this ball down over the, you have plenty of time.
Second and goal.
Oh, New England's going to come after him. They can't. They got to get out of there, right?
No, they're coming.
I know.
They're coming. Ben able to shake it off and fling it. Look out. Got to get to the sideline. He's in play.
Right now, don't clock it, Ben. Get up and
You can't because that was set up fourth down.
You're going to go ahead and throw it. Fades outside. Take your time and snap it with 9 or 8 seconds. Yep, he's telling him fades.
Here he goes. Third down play. Fakes the spike. Still has it. Now fires. And it's intercepted. It's intercepted to save the game by Harmon. And the Patriots are going to win it. Absolutely amazing.
His ball first down at the 20-yard line.
Oh, he tries to throw a slant. You got to throw a fade. You have to throw a fade right there, Ben. There's too many people inside.
That was Rowe who batted it into the air and Harmon who grabbed it.
Rowe comes up with that right there. And Rowe's the guy who gave up the long play. And to come back and make that play and save the game. But, oh no, and he knows can't throw a slant. There's too many guys in there. They're not. You have to throw a fade. If you overshoot him, it's okay. It's overtime.
Absolutely hard to absorb what happened in this last 2 minutes. The New England drive, then the Pittsburgh drive, then the supposed touchdown for a moment that looked like it might win it for Pittsburgh, and then the interception to seal it and to give the Patriots their division for the 9th straight year. And this crowd is unhappy about that call. It is going to be discussed all night.
These quarterbacks play outstanding football games. Ben Roethlisberger had one mistake in the entire football game, and it was a big one.
Well, this is going to be the one that everyone's going to have an opinion on.
The thing about it is, it does move. It's just, oh. And look at, there's 3 guys. There's 4 guys coming.
Here's the pick.
You got to give Ben credit for getting him to the play and not spiking it.
Yeah, you wouldn't have wanted to do
But
that
you
because
throw-
then basically you're going to have to go with field goal to tie it and send it to overtime because that was a third down snap if you would have spiked it.
You're exactly right. You want to give yourself one opportunity. He's one-on-one on a fade, and you just throw it to the corner. He catches it or doesn't.
So there is an updated look at the playoff picture, and if this is a harbinger of what's to come, who knows, on January 21st, we will have a great one to look forward to. New England wins it 27-24. Let's go down to Tracy.
Thanks a lot. I'm here with Rob Gronkowski. And before we get to what you were able to do to take the lead, what can you say about Duron Harmon and the interception in the end zone?
He deserves it. He's a hard worker. He's a leader. He leads our defense very well, along with a lot of other guys. And he's always in the right position to make plays because he works hard and he does everything right in practice, and it shows in games.
For you, the second half was huge. How were you able to get such separation continuously?
Just hard work. Just been working my tail off this whole year, and I just knew my body was going to click sooner than later. And it did. It's been the last couple weeks, and just working hard. And as an offense, we're just moving the ball. We're all playing hard. We're all playing for each other.
That last drive, of course, led by Tom Brady, just one of the best out there. Was there ever a moment when you thought, you know, you might be in a situation where this might not happen, or Brady's always leading you guys?
No, Brady's always leading us. You see how many fourth quarter, 2-minute drives he has in his career. It doesn't matter what his age is, how hard he works. It doesn't matter his determination. You know we always have a chance out there with him.
Handling this environment is never easy. Now you get the edge going back to New England. How huge is that in terms of the playoffs?
Oh, we got a lot of hard work. We got 2 big games left still. We got to keep putting the work in, and I would say this team's going to. We got a big week ahead of us, and it's going to be another challenge next week.
Thanks for the time.
All right, thank you.
Gronk's 100th career game, and he was some force in that second half with 7 catches plus the 2-point conversion. Brady has his 51st fourth quarter or overtime comeback win. 10 on the CBS begins with 60 Minutes. Wisdom of the crowd in CIS Los Angeles. Madam Secretary, for Tony, Tracy, the whole crew, Jim Nantz saying so long from Pittsburgh. What a game, folks. What a game. Happy holidays. We're going to go to JB in New York.